The only way you can reach for God form is if nothing human can affect you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you've outgrown the humanistic desires of the flesh, and now you can really start doing some work on earth.
Indeed. But before we continue, I know my brother Billy Carson has to go, so I'm going to allow you to say your last thoughts before you get out of here, my brother. We're actually winding down. We don't have no more than 20 minutes here on the actual broadcast, but
and I appreciate every single one of y'all. You're talking about the archetype of the lion, Leo, and how it matches, like the brother was saying, as above, so below. And when you look at, what's associated with the lion, what is associated with that, what aspects, what's in terms of like accolades or what you can be about. You look at the lion as historically being like, valor, courage, nobility, royalty, strength, and also is, considered the king of the beasts, right? And so if you look at the perspective if you look in the ancient text or the Emerald Tablets, Thoth claimed to have built the Great Pyramid. Not that he built it with his own hands, but he probably was the master architect. And I'm assuming that, it doesn't say this, but I'm just assuming that he had something to do with that Sphinx as well, since it's on the Giza Plateau and it's so incredibly designed. And he talks about the Dark Brothers. And the Dark Brothers could be the beast, and we're supposed to become kings of those beasts. So there's all these different things that you can look at. We know that the Sphinx is facing a constellation of Leo, where it was in the sky 2 precessional periods back. So if you look at the constellation, if you look at the alignment 1 precessional period back, you go back to 13,000 years ago, that's the Ice Age, not the perfect time to build a great Sphinx. If you then take it, okay, well, look at the weathering on that Sphinx, and you realize that, because I've been in the Sphinx enclosure, I've actually stood and touched the actual body of the Sphinx, and you see some of the pictures on my Instagram account and everything else. I've been in between paws and inside the Sphinx and everything else. But you can see the weathering pattern. The weathering pattern is for millennia. That place was flooded at one point. That Sphinx was totally submerged. And if you take the hypothesis of that, the time it would take to erode the rock that way, and you go back 2 precessional periods back, because 1 more precessional period back, that is the rotation of the alignment of constellation in the sky. You go 1 more back before the Ice Age, you get to a point where we have the Quaternion extinctions, and those extinctions were brutal. Not another good time to build a Sphinx. So you go 1 more back, now you're at 36,000 years, the same time that both claim to have written the Emerald Tablets and potentially built the Great Pyramid around that time frame. So it matches with that, and that alignment with the constellation of Leo would be perfect around that date. So we're talking about deep antiquity. We're talking about ancient knowledge, ancient mysteries. And that alignment is specific and is very, very important because, we know that the shafts in the Great Pyramid align with these different constellations at different periods and different times throughout the millennia. And there's a reason for that. They're trying to send us a message, and they're trying to tell us something. The true understanding of exactly what they're trying to do, and maybe if you're even trying to communicate with other people, maybe at those points, at those 0 points, or whatever you want to call it, that's still a question mark. But I do believe that there's a message there in the fact that they chose the body of a lion. Or in the case, like the brother said, maybe even a lioness. Those are the ones that do the hunting anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what is the message here? Is it that we're supposed to become kings of the beast? Are we supposed to come together and then overthrow this oligarchical ruling